his mom pick him up twice. When 11-year-old Ethan walked out of school, he smiled at the sight of his mom's car waiting for him. She waved, called his name, and he hopped in. They drove off like any other day, but 10 minutes later, as they passed a familiar corner, Ethan froze. Because standing on the sidewalk was his mom, waving at him, exactly the same way. Subscribe now, because this story only gets darker from here. Ethan had always trusted his mom more than anyone else in the world. She was the steady presence in his life, the one who walked him to the bus stop when he was younger, the one who stayed up with him when he had nightmares. So when the final bell rang on that gray October afternoon, and Ethan saw her car parked across the street, a wave of relief washed over him. He'd had a rough day. Bullies had tripped him in the cafeteria. His math test was a disaster, and all he wanted was the comfort of home. "Ethan," his mom called, rolling down the window. She was smiling, wearing her usual navy coat, the same messy bun she always wore when she didn't have time to fix her hair. Everything about her seemed perfectly normal. He ran to the car, threw his backpack in the back seat, and climbed in. The familiar smell of her vanilla hand cream filled the air. "Rough day?" she asked gently, pulling into traffic. "Yeah," Ethan muttered. "Well, it's over now. Let's get home." Her voice was warm, comforting, exactly what he needed. Ethan leaned back in the seat, staring out the window as they turned onto the road leading out of town. That's when he saw her. At first, he thought his eyes were playing tricks on him, but no, the figure was clear. Standing right outside the school gates, holding a purse, waving in his direction. It was his mom, the exact same coat, the exact same bun, the exact same smile. "Mom?" Ethan whispered. The woman driving the car turned her head slightly, still smiling. "Yes, sweetheart." Ethan's stomach dropped. Ethan's pulse hammered in his ears. He turned back toward the window, half expecting the figure to vanish, like maybe it was someone else who just looked like her, but she was still there, his mom, waving at him, the exact same smile on her face. And then she stopped waving. Slowly, her hand dropped to her side. Her expression didn't change, but her eyes followed the car as it rolled away. Ethan's throat went dry. Did you forget something back at school?" he stammered, hoping for some explanation. His mom gave a quick laugh. "No, sweetheart." "Why?" Ethan hesitated. The woman driving the car looked exactly like his mom. She smelled like his mom. She even sounded like his mom. But the woman at the school, she was real too. He could feel it in his gut. He forced himself to glance at the driver's hands on the steering wheel. At first glance, they seemed normal, but then he noticed the knuckles. They were pale, too pale, almost stretched, like the skin didn't quite fit right. Ethan's heart raced. He gripped the door handle without realizing it. The woman glanced at him with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Everything okay, Ethan?" He wanted to say something, anything, but the words got stuck in his throat. And then the car made a turn Ethan recognized. Only his mom never took this road home. Not ever. Ethan's eyes flicked to the street signs as the car turned again. His chest tightened. This wasn't the way home. It wasn't even close. His real mom always took the same route. Main Street, past the bakery, then left at the park. But this road cut through the outskirts of town, toward the industrial district where old warehouses stood abandoned. Mom?" His voice cracked. "You missed the turn." The woman in the driver's seat didn't even glance at him. Her hands stayed steady on the wheel. "No, honey, this is faster." Ethan's stomach churned. "No, it's not," he whispered. The driver smiled faintly. "Don't worry, sweetheart. We'll be home soon." Her voice was still his mom's voice, soft, caring. But now there was something underneath, like an echo, a faint vibration that made his skin crawl. Ethan's fingers dug into the fabric of the seat. He tried to think logically. If that wasn't his mom, then who was driving the car? And where were they going? The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the road. They passed an empty gas station, its sign half broken, the parking lot cracked with weeds. Ethan glanced at the rearview mirror. His heart lurched. In the mirror, the driver's face looked wrong. Her smile was too wide, stretched just a little too far. Her eyes didn't blink. And for the briefest second, Ethan thought he saw something move beneath her skin, like something squirming, trying to push its way out. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. He was trapped. Ethan's hand hovered near the door handle. If he jumped out now, maybe he could run back toward town. But the car was going too fast, and the thought of hitting the pavement made his legs lock up. The woman's voice broke through his panic. "You're quiet today. Did something happen at school?" Her tone was sweet, almost playful. But Ethan heard it again, that faint vibration under the words, like two voices speaking at once. He swallowed hard. Can we just go home the normal way?" She chuckled softly. "But I told you, this way is faster. Don't you trust me, Ethan?" He forced himself to look at her again. Her profile was perfect, his mom's face down to the tiniest detail, the freckles, the slight curve of her nose. But her smile hadn't faded for even a second. His mom never smiled that long. Ethan turned his gaze forward, heart pounding. The road stretched ahead, lined with looming warehouses. Not a single other car in sight. "Where are we going?" he whispered. The woman's smile widened, just a fraction too far. "Home," she said. But in the rearview mirror, her lips didn't move when the word came out. Ethan froze. He had heard the voice, but the driver's reflection had stayed perfectly still, grinning at him through the glass. Ethan's lungs felt tight, like the air in the car had grown heavier. He couldn't stop staring at the reflection. The driver's mouth didn't move, yet the words had filled the car. "Home." He clenched the door handle. If he didn't do something now, he knew he might never see his real mom again. "Stop the car," he whispered. The woman tilted her head slightly, her eyes still fixed on the road. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" "Stop the car." His voice cracked louder this time. Slowly, the woman's reflection in the mirror shifted. Her smile widened until it looked painful, stretching far beyond what a human face should allow. Ethan's stomach twisted. He tore his eyes away, but the image burned in his mind. The car slowed. Not because she obeyed him, but because they had reached the end of the road. An enormous warehouse loomed in front of them, its windows shattered, its metal doors rusted shut. The woman put the car in park and finally turned to face him fully. For the first time, Ethan realized her eyes were all wrong. Up close, they weren't his mom's warm hazel. They were too dark, too deep, like endless pits pulling him in. "You don't need to be afraid," she said softly. "You belong here." Ethan's fingers trembled on the door handle. He yanked it, locked. The woman leaned closer, her smile unbroken. "Don't fight me, Ethan. You'll only make it worse." Then, from outside the warehouse, he heard it, another voice. "Ethan, Ethan, it's me." His real mom. Ethan's head snapped toward the sound. Through the cracked window, he could hear it clearly, his mom's voice, desperate, calling his name. The woman in the driver's seat didn't flinch. She just kept smiling. "Ignore it. That's not real." Ethan's chest heaved. "It is real. That's her." He pounded the lock with his fist, yanking at the handle, but it wouldn't budge. His backpack slid off the seat, hitting the floor with a thud. Outside, the real mom's voice grew closer. "Ethan, don't get out. Don't listen to her. Close your eyes if she talks to you." The driver's face twisted, just for a second. But Ethan saw it. The skin around her mouth rippled, like it was struggling to hold itself together. "Don't you dare listen to her," the thing hissed. The sweet tone was gone now. Its voice dropped low, vibrating the air, too deep, too layered to be human. Ethan's whole body shook. He slammed his shoulder against the door over and over, until finally the lock gave way with a sharp click. The woman's smile dropped. For the first time, her face went blank. Ethan threw the door open and stumbled into the gravel outside. His legs almost buckled beneath him, but he kept running toward the sound of his mom's voice. Behind him, he heard the car door creak open, slowly. Too slowly, like whatever was inside wasn't used to moving like a human at all. And then it spoke again. "You can run, Ethan, but she can't protect you forever." Ethan's legs burned as he sprinted toward the voice of his real mom. Gravel bit into his palms as he fell, scrambling to his feet again. The warehouse loomed closer, dark and massive, but he didn't care. "Ethan!" his mom cried, holding her arms out. "Don't look back!" Behind him, a scraping sound followed. Slow, deliberate, echoing off the walls of the empty lot. Something big was coming. Something that shouldn't exist. He risked a glance over his shoulder. The driver, no, the creature, emerged from the car. Its body was too long, too twisted, skin rippling unnaturally. Its mouth opened far wider than humanly possible, lips stretched to show sharp, uneven teeth. It didn't run. It didn't chase. It glided or crawled, like it knew Ethan would never stop. Ethan reached his mom and threw himself into her arms. She caught him, trembling. "It's okay, baby. It's okay. I've got you." The creature froze, just outside their reach. It tilted its head, observing, whispering something under its breath in voices that were all wrong, all layered together. Jason, Ethan himself, even her voice. Then, as suddenly as it appeared, it shrank back, melting into the shadows near the warehouse. Its hiss lingered in the air. "You can't hide forever." Ethan buried his face into his mom's coat, shivering, sobbing, heart hammering. The terror didn't leave immediately. It never would, but he was alive. Ethan never forgot that day. The warehouse stood silent afterward, abandoned as always, but he knew the thing was still out there, somewhere, waiting. He learned something terrifying and vital. The world isn't always what it seems, and sometimes the people you trust can be copied, imitated, twisted into something that preys on your fear. Courage isn't just standing up. It's running, calling for help, trusting your instincts, and never ignoring the small truths your gut tells you. From that day on, Ethan stayed alert. He never doubted his senses again. And though the shadow of that creature haunted him, he survived because he saw the truth and refused to ignore it. If you want more stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat and question every shadow around you, hit subscribe. Some things are better seen, some things better avoided. And some things, like fear itself, never truly leave.